We are halfway through the Road and Play Summer Series schedule, and after a quick trip over to Japan, we are back with some short track racing here at Langley. Welcome to JCTV for round 4 of your Summer Series action. I'm Olivia Hayward, bringing you everything to see here in Virginia, and we have just a couple of minutes left in practice before we get into qualifying and get this one underway. Well, no, this is qualified. We're officially qualified right now. So we're getting going in actually a very short amount of time indeed. As I said, halfway point of the season, and so let's have a look at our points coming into today's round. And as you can see, Dustin Borley, despite not picking up a race win yet this season, has picked up 5 top 5s and 6 top 10s out of the 6 races, which means he sits at the top of the board. But Matt Schlosser, Michael McCoy and James Moore share 5 of those 6 wins and are all hot on his heels. We'll see what the short track racing here has to offer and who can rise to the top as we go into our final stretch over at Laguna Seca and the Southern National Motorsports Park. We are just in the final minute of that qualifying session, and as we bring down the ticker, it is Aaron Smith who leads the way. Aaron Smith, notorious in this series at this point for being incredibly strong on the road course especially. Made his first starts of the season last week and picked up 2 top 5s. Behind him, Matt Schlosser looking to take that top step of the championship, with Samuel Stoner and Devon Jack looking to start behind. But we are about to get wrapped up with qualifying, and we will be getting ready for a 15-minute timed sprint race to open up our action for tonight. And as mentioned, it is Aaron Smith who sits on pole position for tonight's race in the yellow number 70, with Matt Schlosser starting directly on the outside. Then it is Samuel Stoner and Devon Jack lining up 3rd and 4th, with Michael McCoy and James Moore making up the 3rd row of the grid. The rest of your top 10 will be Evan Hubchak, championship leader Dustin Borley, and then Brandon Carl and Jay Bast. We then have Ryan Campbell and Chuck Barno on row 6 of tonight's grid. Aaron Bray and Tom Wendt lining up directly behind, with Benson Weaver and Laura Wiseman 15th and 16th. Sean Campbell and Jade McKee rounding out your 18-car field here for tonight's short track racing at Langley. This is going to be a very frantic sprint race indeed. After discussion a couple of weeks ago about the format of the street stock races here, I believe the consensus is to stay with no cautions in the first race, and then we'll do some yells in the future. We've got 35 minutes to work with. That'll be plenty of time. The warning I will give here is that our ticker is going to get a little bit confused. It is estimating 56 laps of action for this sprint race. We'll see exactly how many we squeeze in. Again, a timed race. A little bit unusual for these cars, but a fun challenge for these drivers to juggle nonetheless. First of 2 pace laps here at the 4/10 of a mile 6-degree banked circuit. See The drivers trying to get a little bit of heat into those tyres. We know how long a street stock tyre can run. Often you might run it for the whole season even. And so not exactly the softest compound to get heat into. So really making sure to get that worked on. We've got two casino cars on the front row, with a Panther in row 2 and an Eagle in row 3. Who knows what that could be referring to. Come through turn 3 and 4. And as the pace car pulls off, the field is in the hands of Aaron Smith, and we are racing for the sprint race at Langley. Already, Smith with a great launch, and Samuel Stoner, in fact, on the inside, managed to shuffle through and displace Matt Schlosser for that second position. Devon Jack and Michael McCoy running side by side for that 4th spot. You can see James Moore trying to line up a move, trying to work out which lane to follow to set this up. A little bit of a door rub. And this is the sort of racing you need to get used to at a short track. It's about working the line over the course of multiple laps, and if need be, getting a little bit aggressive to get the move complete. As it stands, Jack and McCoy are in a little bit of lockstep here, and it seems like it is holding them up a little bit. They're now a second behind the top 3, who are forming a very nice breakaway, as Samuel Stoner, in fact, out of the way after picking up a purple lap. An interesting move there from the 65. Maybe got nudged out of the way there by Matt Schlosser. It looks like McCoy has cleared, and Moore is going to follow as well. You can see the issue with the short track. Devon Jack stuck on the outside. There's banking, yes, but you can see drivers happy to use that apron because it's just a difference of 6 degrees. And Devon Jack gets shuffled all the way down into 7th place after starting on the outside of row number 2. A battle further back. His tail on the field struggling a little bit. Tom went under attack from Aaron Gray, who's lost a few spots early. They're in a full side-by-side through the corner as Wise tries to catch back up to P and the rest of the top 14. See a lot of room being given, a lot of respect being shown between the two drivers. And it's almost contact sport, and a wiggle there from Tom Wen. Does a great job holding on to it, and Sean Tam does a great job getting checked up to not run into the back of that number 28 car. Matt Schlosser back into the second position where he started, looking to chase down Aaron Smith. Remember, Aaron not in the points fight right now, only has 2 starts compared to 6 of the rest of the field. You know how strong he is as a racer, and he's going to want to fight for everything that he can. Meanwhile, Matchless has championship in his eyes. You can see Dustin Borley working as well, championship leader, going heavy down onto the apron, and a wiggle there from James Moore could cause some trouble, and Borley's going to go for the lunge. He's going to make contact. He's going to turn around. The number 12, he saves it, but moves him out of the way on the quarter panel for 5th place. We'll see if Borley can get back there and exchange a little bit more paint. We also now have the lapped traffic of Sean Campbell in the mix. Had an incident a little bit further back. The field going to try and slot through again. Borley not being friendly, is going to tap around, and this time it's not going to go so smoothly. It's going to catch up more, and Hoopchak in that, oh, Devon Jack, I should say. That is bully of buffer space, as he almost used that as a green shell thrown backwards. We'll have a look at what put Campbell back in that spot in just a moment. But things going from bad to worse for the number 54, I should say. Now 1 lap down and being caught up in the fights for the top 5. Oh, you can see Jack trying to line up the bump on James Moore here for the 6th position. And a Whittle could open up the inside of turn number 3. He's got to take it. And he is going to take it. Wrap that yellow line and move through into the 6th position. This was the incident for Sean Campbell at the tail end of the field. Just a little bit of a rearward brake bias, it seems like. Gets it rolling nice and quickly. No torsion needed for that one. But of course, ended up causing a little bit of chaos with the incident that followed. We'll have another look at that one. And it's aggressive from Bullion, and then it's the 12 has nowhere to go. That's James Moore. And I don't know if it ends here. He gets out of the way, got down to the apron to let the field through. Smart from Campbell. He's now down in pit lane and out of this first race. Real shame for the 54, you know, didn't really want to be involved in any of that. We are on lap 23 right now. Nearly halfway through with 8 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. Your top 3 are as they started: Aaron Smith, Matt Schlosser, and Samuel Stoner. They got that breakaway early. They knew to not fight it too hard, to make sure they could keep the fight amongst themselves. Although this is where things could get a little bit interesting. There's the lunge from Evan Hoopchak on a wide Brandon Carl into turn number 3. Jay Bast also looking to try and pounce on that one. Meanwhile, this could be the big story of the next few laps. The top 2 are approaching lap traffic. You've got Bray, Wiseman, and Wen all close to 1 lap down. Matt Schloss going to try and use one of those cars as a pit to get around Aaron Smith and get in for what would be his 3rd race win of the season if he can get it done. There you can see the 28 of Tom Wendt. The speed differential's not that huge between these cars. And a great setup move there. A little bit of a door band. 28 maybe not expecting Smith to run as high on the straightaway there. It's often not the best idea of a short track to arc all the way out. Just, you can just bleed more speed than you expect. Here, you can see that second groove. You can sort of very slowly track to the wall on the backstretch. I think Tom went a little bit caught out by that. He's now falling back behind towards Samuel Stoner as the leaders get involved with Laura Wiseman, who gets out of the way in turn number 2. No such issues on the backstretch. And it's just the one more lap car, really, that we expect to play a factor at this phase of the race. It'd be Aaron Bray in the number 11. Of course, this trio is going to then have to deal through the rest of this group, with Stoner and McCoy holding on quite tight within about 3 seconds. We'll see if Smith can get this move done cleanly, or whether there's going to be a little bit of contact. And nice and smooth, Aaron Braid gets well out of the way. into the marbles of turn 4, but can hold on for that 15th position and leave the lead fight unscathed. Good news for Aaron Smith. Maybe not the best news for Matt Schlosser. Maybe he was hoping for a little bit more chaos in that one. Regardless, we continue rolling. We are 5.5 minutes left on the clock as we hit lap 35 of now an estimated 54. This is great racing here. Up and down the field. Of course, this top two teams, to be very honest. Further back, I mean, half a racetrack away at this point. The drivers on top of each other. Benson Weaver, Ryan Campbell, JMT all working that low side. Jay Bast, I think, got a little bit shuffled out there and couldn't really make anything of it. A slow lap and 3 positions dropped over the course of it. And this group, of course, fighting for 11th place right now, do need to keep an eye forwards and maybe try and work together a little bit, because it is that top 10 that is going to be inverted, and whoever gets to that 10th position will find themselves lined up on the pole for the feature race. See how close they're running. Nose contact as Weaver takes an awkward line, gets spun around off the nose of Ryan Campbell. We'll have another look at that one. And just over aggressive, I think, there. Gets spun around, and that wheel doesn't rotate anymore. Has to pull it into pit lane. Oh, and in fact, there's contact with the race leaders. And that moved Matt Schlosser ahead. And that invited Samuel Stoner up as well. Just couldn't get it turned in turn 3, not quite knowing the extent of that damage. You can see fighting it back. We're still in replay view. But I want to keep an eye on this all the way until these two get separated. Because, yeah, Aaron Smith gets back to the inside. Gives another nudge to Matt Schlosser. I mean, you're not happy losing the lead that way. In the end, he's going to regain it, using a little bit of force as well. And now we get back to live pictures finally. Get a chance to fall back into it. And it is back to the status quo. Aaron Smith leading the way here. But now with the top 3 under a blanket, McCoy and Jack also starting to re-enter the picture for that top 5. Less than 3 minutes on the clock. We are in our final 10 laps of action here for our sprint race. Again, no cautions flying. That's always going to be part of the carnage. And Aaron Smith nearly being costed the race win because of it. We keep it rolling. Some good fights up and down the field. About 15th place here. Still very competitive between Wendt and Wiseman. Just coming up to them on the racetrack for 6th place, we have Justin Borley. He's not been able to make too much progress. But with Sosa not quite being in the race lead, might be able to hold on to championship lead a little bit longer. Huchak sitting in the wings as Moore puts on a huge amount of pressure. Is going to get to move through, in fact, and Hubchak might try and follow. Borley covers it off. A little bit of contact with the 12 again. These two have been aggressive all race long. As we move into the final 90 seconds of this race, the final 5 laps. It is going to be Smith, Schlosser, Stoner, and McCoy now all covered by a blanket as we are 5 laps to go here for our sprint race at Langley. And Smith starting to pull a little bit of a gap, half a second to Matt Schlosser last time by. Samuel Stoner now looking to try and get a move done. Wondering if he can maybe pull that late charge. That time to about half a second down off what they were at the start of this race. Not to say from tyre wear, but tyre heat. Conditioning, very important. And in a run this long, they really do start to feel tricky underneath you. Popsicle sticks in the air, 2 laps to go. Aaron Smith seems out of striking range here. We'll see whether Stoner can get around. Schlosser has basically 3 more corners to try and get the move done. Here we come to the white flag. It is going to be Aaron Smith who leads the way. Matt Schlosser, Samuel Stoner behind Michael McCoy, looking to pick up the pieces. We'll see if there's any move from Stoner. Can he get down there? It doesn't look like he can. In the end, it will be Aaron Smith taking his first win of the Summer Series. Matt Schlosser and Samuel Stoner behind, with McCoy and Jack rounding out the top 5. Great work from everyone there. Drivers under a blanket, and oh, is that a little bit of aggression? Is that? I don't know if that that might be playing around. It is more Hubchak, Labano, Borley, and I believe it was Brandon Carl who picked up that final spot in the invert. We'll see what happens when we get into that. But of course, hopping in nice and quickly here, we do have 2-time champion and now Summer Series race winner Aaron Smith. How was that one?
It was pretty fun. I tried to save my tires from the beginning because this track is so weird. It's shaped so oddly. I wasn't too sure how much the right front would come into play there. But yeah, it turned out it was all right rear. I saved just enough of that to be able to keep up front there at the end, and ran into Benson there in the second lane. I wasn't sure where he was going to go, so I just drove straight into him. And I was fortunate to be able to get the lead back and keep driving away with it.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that is a factor of these sprint races. No cautions being thrown, and so an instant on the backstretch sort of found its way into your lap. How do you deal with that as a driver? Do you just have to keep the aggression with the car behind you and hope that it works out?
Yeah, I've got to take them on the chin. I'm not here to wreck anybody or anything like that, but I didn't want to give the win away doing something like that. So had to kind of get my elbows out there. I think he was already loose there when we got into turns 1 and 2, but I kind of finished him off a little bit. But I got the lead back and kept doing what I've been doing the whole race. And fortunately, we were able to bring home that first win. This feature is going to be a difficult race, though.
Yeah, of course, starting down in the 10th position. And we've seen how easy it is to get into battles. Not to mention, that'll be on the outside line for this initial start. You did a great job starting and launching on the inside groove. How are you going to try and rip the outside on the first couple laps?
I mean, it can work if you're pinching the guy on the inside and they have like a really bad stack up on the bottom. I'm going to have to count on that if I'm going to see any sort of progress in the first few laps, but we'll see. It should be fun.
Alright, if there's anything you want to say to the fans at home, then now would be the time. Otherwise, I'll let you get ready for the feature race.
10-4. I'd like to thank all the folks at Road and Plate for letting me hop in for a couple races here in this summer series. I'd like to thank you for broadcasting, all the folks for watching. In case I don't come back up here after the feature, it's been fun.
It's been great having you, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you again in a little bit.
10-4. Thank you.
That was Aaron Smith, your sprint race winner. We just have about 20 seconds on the clock before we get to go racing once again for a 35-minute feature race. Cautions, I think, on the line. I mean, we'll find out, won't we? I'm sure there'll be an incident to confirm or deny it for us. But again, will be a 10-car invert, so it will be Aaron Smith lining up on the 5th row on the outside of Matt Schlosser. And we will have a look at the rest of the field as we get down to that starting lineup. And it is Brandon Carl who will be lined up from pole position with Dustin Borley, Chuck Lubano, and Evan Huchak, the rest of the first 2 rows. You've got Devon Jack, and there's Michael McCoy. Your podium finishers, Samuel Stone and Matt Schlosser, and Aaron Smith round out the top 10. You can see the yellow number 70 in the background there. And then the non-inverted drivers behind: Jake McKee, Ryan Campbell, Jay Best, Aaron Bray, Tom Wendt, Laurel Wiseman, and Benson Weaver. We'll see if Sean Campbell is able to get that car fixed up for race number 2. Of course, Weaver back out here looking for more here at Langley. It looks like our field ready to go here for our 2 pacing laps for the feature race. And this is going to be even more frantic. More than 120 laps estimated on this one. Again, we'll see if cautions end up shortening that number at all. But it's going to be an ordeal for these drivers. Fuel tank should make it, I'm pretty sure. If we get a long green flag run, I think you'll see that tyre heat really start to be a problem. Those cautions will do a great job to help them cool down. I'm not sure if potentially under caution any drivers might try and come down for a spare set of tyres if they're available. Either way, we'll find out when we get there. It's Brandon Carl leading the way here as we fire off and get going for more action at Langley. Here we go. And they fan out super wide into turn number 1 there. Aaron Smith already up 2 positions, really working the outside groove. It's a spin from Chuck Lubano. He's going to get going again. They're 3 wide at the front of the field. James Moore a little bit loose. They get fired out 2 wide here. Borley got to the race lead around Brandon Carl through all of that. You can see they are grouped up so tightly here. And as the 7 gets sort of shuffled out of the way, there's going to be a lot of aggression early on because you've got a lot of really fast guys trying to shuffle through the field. Moore is up 2 positions, but McCoy, Schlosser, and Smith are really the 3 to watch out for. The podium finishers last time, and they are wasting no time at all working that low groove, trying to just get around anyone in the way. Oh, Jake McKee has spun around, and there will be a caution. That'll be our first caution of the night. Gonna wait for the cars to get going around. Get spun around. We stay on the lead lap. And it'll be Dustin Borley who leads at the first caution. Let's go back and have a look at some of these earlier incidents. So here's that first one. Lobano just gets turned around by James Moore. A little bit of an aggressive run into the corner. Almost missed the bottom a little bit. And oh, it continued back here. Hang on. And it was a Benson Weaver turning around Tom Wendt as they tried to file through. No caution for that, amazingly. But of course, we then saw the incident for Jake McKee in turns 1 and 2. That did bring out the caution. Benson Weaver might be down on pit lane shortly. We can get a little bit of that damage fixed. One fast repair available. You're not going to want to take it unless you absolutely have to, I would say. Of course, the front of the field. Never taking that chance here. We are in fact going to see no takers, it looks like. I want to see that move for the race lead as well. Oh, we've got the time. Do still have the time just about. Let's have a look. This was ahead of that carnage behind Justin Borley. That's a huge run off the corner and just dives to the inside of Brandon Carl, who had a bit of a slow arc. We get back to live. We're getting formed up now, double file. It is Borley who will lead the way ahead of Carl, Moore, McCoy, and then Matt Schlosser. I believe no choose rule in effect, as you might be accustomed to from watching the BSR Grid Network Truck Series. It's very finicky. I wouldn't want to have to deal with that either. Pace car pulls off. Dustin Borley leads the way and gets going once again, as they are side by side behind, 2 by 2 by 2 in the tail end of the field. Michael McCoy on the wrong side of the track, to top 3 wide almost, can clear Hubchat's nose and cut back down, but lose a ton of positions on that restart. Big winner right now, Matt Schlosser, who's already up into the 2nd position as Justin Borley, in fact, got moved out of the way. Borley now down to 4th position and struggling with the handling on that car. And Samuel Stoner is going to try and slide through as well. I want to find out what happened there too. Borley, is it down here in turn number 1? James Moore just slotted through. Can't really argue with that one. Up at the front, Matt Schlosser now trying to put the pressure on, but Devon Jack behind is also hounding that number 400 car. Aaron Smith is running in the 5th position. Michael McCoy all the way down in 13th position now. I'm not seeing any damage on that car, any significant damage. And we got a caution, it's Borley. Borley finds himself spun around. Jay Bast also stopped, it looks like, on the back stretch. And lap 15 will be our 2nd caution of the night. See how this one happened. So Borley's stuck between Aaron Smith and Brandon Carl here. Goes for a move, a little bit loose, kind of has the door shut and slides around. And then Jay Bast in a separate incident, in fact, ends up in trouble, catches up to the back of Brandon Carl. Oh, I think maybe Chad, I'm not entirely sure. A little bit clumsy. Both drivers end up okay from it. And Carl, I think, actually managed to hold on and keep position. So very fortunate out of that one. It's like the safety car taking the outside for this restart. More will be to the inside. Not the most unheard of thing in motorsport, weirdly enough. The very first Indianapolis 500, first of all, started with a red flag. I only learned that today. That surprised me. But they lined up 5 wide, and the pace car was lined up on the inside of row number 1, not ahead of the rows. It took a while for us to work out how to do this properly. But we are nice and ready to go. 27 minutes left of our 35 minutes of action. 2 cautions on the night so far in this feature race. And it is going to be James Moore who has control of the field as the pace car pulls off once again. And we fire those engines up. James Moore with a great getaway. Devon Jack to the inside of Matt Schlosser. And Aaron Smith going to try and get around, but a bit of a check-up from Jack. A big pinch from Schlosser. Holds on for now, but this is such a tough battle to win. 400 doing a good job of it so far. See, every sort of corner entry, you lose out, and then you've got to try and run it back in the mid-corner, hope for a check-up ahead, almost. And it's not really so much of an attack here, I think, from Schlosser, as it is a defense to try and make sure that Aaron Smith doesn't follow straight through on the inside. Those two battled out through race number 1. It'll be very difficult to hold on to that one. We have Jay Bast down on pit road. Aaron Bray had an incident as well. Ryan Hamill slowed down on the apron, losing a few positions. Battle continues on. Schlosser's going to try and slot in here. Smith. You could see Smith think about moving that car and then decides, maybe not this early, maybe not on lap 24. There's still plenty of time to get a move done, and now's maybe not time to make enemies. There's got to be give and take in short track racing. We see that from Aaron Smith there. Aaron Bray also down on pit lane. We'll try and have a quick look at what happened to Aaron Bray here. Gets spun, hits the cone! And that's where Jay Bast found himself in pit lane as well. You can see just... I mean, maybe tries to cut down, but also the 53 maybe not going as far to apron as he'd have expected. Bast gets forced into pit lane. Bray finds the cone, is now down on pit lane. Both of them picked up black flags in that exchange, which is a real shame. As going to put them pretty much out of contention. Bast gotta make sure to not bring a caution out by doing that. And our third stoppage of the night there from the 53. Trying to do the right thing, knowing that going into the corner on the apron is tough with how these drivers are using it. But it's the apron on the back is so close to the racing surface that race control was always going to see that as a hazard, unfortunately. And we get a little bit of time as Aaron Smith pulls down pit lane. Gotta be for tyres. And sure enough, can lift up that right-hand side of the car. I think there's enough time to get 4 tyres in one stop here. Smith's maybe not going to risk it. It looks like maybe it's going to take a couple. Borley going to use the opportunity as well. Barno also taking tyres in that pit stop. I think Borley also handing on maybe for a little bit of repair. I'm curious if those drivers are going to come back in for the other sides, as we have JP and Benson Weaver also rolling down pit lane here. And we get ready for the restart, and now differing strategies in the third portion of the night. About 1/3 of the way through, 23 minutes left on the clock here. I think we're going to undershoot that estimate a little bit. Pace car will pull off once again. James Moore has that inside line. Is going to get a great jump. This time it's Schlosser on the inside, Devon Jack on the outside. And Jack has most of a nose ahead, not quite clear. And then the backstretch, you see that mid-corner speed from Matt Schlosser, so powerful. He's running into the, the back of Moore right now, but it's a great job and clears for second place and is immediately down on the inside, looking for the race lead from James Moore. To the inside again in 3 and 4, dipping the tyres onto that yellow stripe. Coming off turn number 4, he'll lead the lap. Can he clear into turn number 1? Matt Schlosser, your new race leader here at Langley. What a move on that restart. Gets past Devon Jack so quickly and then immediately pounces on James Moore, who leaves just a little bit of room in 1 and 2. Matt Schlosser, while doing that, just set the fastest lap of the race, and he's going to try and pull away here. More under pressure, a little bit of pressure from Devon Jack here. Be the fight to keep an eye on. We've got Smith, Borley, Weaver. 3 very quick drivers, all on fresh tyres now. Taking at least 2. I think it might just be 2 for the likes of Smith and Weaver. It's not going to be quick progress. It's not as substantial as you would otherwise expect. Devon Jack has gotten around James Moore for second place as Matt Schlosser set the 4th fastest lap in the last 5 laps, working down into the 16.4s as he pulls a 1 second lead over Devon Jack here. Has incredible clean air pace. The question is, can he pull the brake trend? Is he going to take a little bit too much out of those tyres? Overheating them on these sort of big pushes, those heat cycles of start and restart and restart. We've seen that other drivers have opted for tyres already. I think that there's going to be an element of tyre wear before we are done here today. And I don't think their tyres were necessarily worn out right now. I think they were looking forwards and wanted to give themselves that delta for later in the race when the leaders might start to hit that cliff. If one exists. I think Smith has wanted to make a few more overtakes, to be honest. Plenty of time left in this one. He's already back up to 7th place because he brought a fair chunk of the field with him on that call. Of course, next is Dustin Borley, who's already near the tail end, is up into the 9th position now. Smith on the back of McCoy, who of course finished in 4th place in the sprint. Smith took the race win, and he gets to the inside without any contact. He's going to try and do that one clean for now, and a great move forwards. James Moore, after being passed on that restart by Matt Schlosser, sort of shuffled back by Devon, and now is on the verge of losing out on the podium to the number 65 of Stoner behind. They're door-to-door on exit, leaning on each other just that little bit. And it looks like that'll be enough to open up the door for Stoner. And now already, Aaron Smith on those 30-lap fresh tyres inside the top 5. And I think if you're Schlosser, even if you didn't think that the tyres were going to be a factor, you're starting to sweat a bit. You're not liking the fact that he's moved through the field so quickly. With this move, would restart on the second row, but we're going to have a caution out on the racetrack. And it's Laura Wiseman on the front stretch. And that will be our 4th caution of the night, as we are about halfway through the 35 minutes that we have. And I think that may have been a... I think Laura might have been tipped into that one, potentially. Let's have a look. Sandwich between Borley and Key here. Is going to get nudged and is going to slide through the entry cone. That's a great job locking it down to not come back up the racetrack and shunt half the field, quite frankly. Laura's going to have an end-of-line penalty because of that pit infraction. Not that it was particularly intentional. And we have a few more tasers down on pit road. Ryan Campbell, Benson Weaver, Tom Wendt. Weaver down on pit road again, interestingly. And at quite an angle. Might go 1 lap down here, in fact. Gonna have to race the pace car off pit lane. Might have been a closed exit. I don't think Weaver's gonna care. And stays on the lead lap by the tiniest of margins. Key pulls down this time by for some service as well. Looks like maybe a tyre change there. And Aaron Smith did not get that position in the end on James Moore. But maybe that's a good thing, so it means he now starts on that inside line. The inside of row number 3 for this restart. We get formed up 1 to green here. Still 15 cars on the lead lap. 4 cautions tonight. So this will be our 5th time coming to the green flag. With 15.5 minutes left on our countdown clock. At 52 of probably about 100, I'd say. Matt Schlosser brings the field back to the green flag. A good jump on Devon Jack, but Devon does clear Samuel Stoner. Holds that groove. And it's once again a battle between Moore and Smith for that 4th position, picking up right where they left off, but now with a huge amount of traffic behind them. Smith got level. Is going to get clear now. Moore has to fend off Brandon Carl off the corner. Does a good job doing that with a little bit of a door rub. So now 3 more cars for Aaron Smith to work through. Got to get past Samuel Stoner and Devon Jack before resuming battle with Matt Schlosser. Again, Smith led the most of the feature of the sprint race. Lost the lead to an incident with a damaged car in turn 3, and then took it back by force over the 400 to take home that sprint race win. His first win on the Summer Series season from 3 starts. We'll see what he's able to do with 3 very quick drivers ahead. All 3 finished in the top 5 in the sprint race and have made their way through. The cream rises to the top. And this top 4 starting to break away from the field. 1.2 seconds, the gap from them to the rest of the field. Lobano gets around McKee. Lobano started in the 3rd position but got wrecked early. Has been on a recovery drive since. Is on fresh tyres as well, we believe. And there's contact, there's a spin, and there's a caution. And it's Dustin Borley again. And this has not been the day that the 24 would have wanted. We'll see what happened there. right behind Michael McCoy here. And actually gets into the back of McCoy and it spins both of them around. McCoy holds onto it in the right direction. But not quite the same to be said from Dustin Borley. Matt Schlosser is pit from the race lead here as we watch the replay. Cut back to live. And number 400 taking service. Is this a fuel limited race? I think this might be a fuel limited race, honestly. Because I don't think you would pit unless you needed to in this situation. Schlosser's down to 15th place, the tail end of that lead lap. So many cars ahead have already taken a pit stop. Borley is going to come down this time by. I'll cycle in one position forwards. Jake McKee does the same. That promotes Devon Jack into the race lead. I think Schlosser took fuel only. It only stopped for 10 seconds. And so I do think this might be a situation where the fuel tanks are a little bit restricted here. And drivers have to take a stop to get all the way to the end of the race. Borley does get out of pit lane, staying on the lead lap. Devon Jack and Samuel Stoner line up on the front row with Aaron Smith behind. Smith and Moore round however many at this point for our 5th restart of the night. 6 drivers still yet to come down pit lane. That might be a necessity before the end of this one. 11 minutes to go. Green flag in the air. Devon Jack with a great launch. We get going once again. Aaron Smith to the inside in turn number 1 is going to be half a car ahead. Is going to be just at the quarter panel and clear of Samuel Stoner, who is now fighting James Moore on the inside. Still a battle with Brandon Carl for the 4th position here. Aaron Smith yet to catch up to the tail end of Devon Jack, and I'm sure it'll be pretty soon that happens. Schlosser up into 10th place right now. Stoner just getting shuffled out of the way. Michael McCoy, the next driver, to slide through. Then it's Campbell. Then it's Schlosser again. Up into the 9th position. And as Campbell slides past Samuel Stoner, it maybe opens the door. And there's a caution behind on the racetrack here. More spins behind. Jake McKee part of it. Chuck Labano a part of it. But also I think Laura Wiseman involved in that one. I think a couple of incidents happened there in turns 3 and 4. So it's Dustin Borley trying to find a way through as Weaver and Wiseman fight here. Oh, and it's already a spin for Tom Wen. And Wiseman has nowhere to go. And it's contact from Jake McKee. Let's roll it back one more time. Let's try and get a bit of a fuller view of this. McKee, oh, and it's Went tries to close the door super early, I'd say. And this is another incident. So McKee tries to close the door, gets spun by McKee. McKee is then down on the apron, washes back up the track into Labano, and I'd say if McKee doesn't take fault for the first one, maybe does for the second one. Laura Wiseman pulls down pit lane here to take, I'd assume, some repairs, quite frankly. That was a big hit to the wall. And maybe missed the box and has to go back around again. This would be a perfect time for the fast repair. We have 8 minutes left on the clock. Ignore the lap count, so this is going to be down to the wire. Smith is going to restart on the outside here. It's possible some of these leaders are now hoping for more cautions to get to the end if the fuel is a little bit uncertain. We've got Jack on the inside, Smith on the outside. Schlosser starts on road number 5 on this restart. Devon Jack gets the jump. Is gonna be clear, not quite, into turn number 1. Smith keeps the nose. Now is clear. Smith slots in ahead of Moore, crucially holds on to that second position. Does Moore have a shot at Aaron Smith here as we get going into turn 3? I think Smith has more of a chance of getting Jack out of the way, but the caution's out again. And it's Benson Weaver on the backstretch with no front end. We get there. Okay. We have on the outside of Tom Wendt here. Chuck Labano ahead. This is, I mean, none of these drivers have had a particularly good time. Gets pinched between the two. Chet's up to not basically wreck them both. And Wiseman, who has also not had a great day, just has nowhere to go, it feels like. I mean, let's have a look from the roll bar cam of Wiseman. Again. It's such a quick checkup because I think your eyes may be focusing a little bit further down the racetrack, potentially. Brings out the caution once again. I mean, those four at the tail end of the lead lap are not friends with each other. Aaron Bray is now only 2 laps down. It's not impossible that he finds himself back to the lead lap before this race is over. Importantly, though, we are 1 to green again. Devon Jack again is going to lead the inside line. Aaron Smith on the outside. Matt Schloss is now up to the inside of road number 4 for this one. And championship protagonist Dustin Borley down in road number 6. Michael McCoy on road number 3. James Moore on road number 2. And then Schloss, of course, on the 4th row. It's Devon Jack who leads the race right now. Aaron Smith looking to make it a Langley sweep. We fire off with 4.5 minutes left. Jack is going to clear here. Moore is in the slot into 3rd with McCoy and Carl fighting behind. Schloss is on the outside of Evan Hubchak here. Looking to try and rip the outside line something fierce. Going to be tough to pull that off. Hubchak's going to actually find the run ahead, but now Brandon Carl on the inside. And everyone sort of forming off the inside. The loose moment is going to clear Schlosser behind. Good work there. Borley fighting with Stoner for 9th position now. Is going to move forwards, looks like, and take that 9th position off turn number 4. Schlosser gets around Brandon Carl for the 6th position. 3.5 minutes left to go in this race. Carl gets back to Schlosser and spins around Schlosser. They stack up behind. Dustin Borley flies through, takes all the positions. There's beef back here. Stoner goes around. onto the grass. We stayed green. Carl still stays behind Schlosser after all of that. Jade McKee now trying to put the pressure on. Schlosser's got to try and get around Dustin Borley again now. Devon Jack has a bit of a breakaway. We've got Samuel Stoner running around on the apron here. Schlosser does get through. I don't know if Stoner's waiting for someone here, because he is fighting this down on the apron. The top 5 have a huge breakaway right now. We are going to be working mostly single file here for the time being. And there's contact behind, and that'll be the caution. That'll surely be the caution. Benson Weaver facing the wrong way. Brandon Carl facing the wrong way. And, I mean, I feel like everyone's finally lost their minds after in this one. Let's roll it back. And I think it starts with McKee. Gets into the back of Carl. Carl spins around. Gets the worst of it. Got a chopper cam, I think. A wild turn of events in that most recent run. Stimborley flying through after contact between Carl and McKee. Very light touch there. And it just stats up Hoopchat. Borley. Went gets through. Labano gets through. And time is running out on this race. A minute 15 left on the clock. Got a drivers that have yet to take a pit stop here. I'm not entirely sure how this race is going to end. I'm not sure if green white checkers are on the table. I'm not sure how they are going to interact with the time limit. We're going to be on our toes here. There's 45 seconds left in this race. I believe we are going to come to the wanted green signal here. And we are with 33 seconds. The white flag has not been shown. I am a little bit worried though that we might get the green and the white together here, and it could be a one-lap shootout for the race to win. Let's see what happens. Devon Jack once again on the inside. Aaron Smith on the outside. Moore and McCoy looking to pick up the pieces. Devon Jack gets going. The green flag is in the air and the white is out. 1 lap to go. Devon Jack fends off Aaron Smith. Smith has to watch out for Moore behind, who sides the inside. That's going to give Jack enough room to work with. He's going to take the check flag. He's going to win it here at Langley. Moore finishes second. Smith has to settle for 3rd place in the end. And what drama to finish out the race. Campbell finishes 4th. McCoy 5th. Matt Schlosser comes home in the 6th position in the end. Then Borley, Labano, Hoopchat, and Wiseman, your top 10. But Devon Jack, your feature race winner here at Langley. Congratulations coming through from the whole field. Fireworks down at turn number 3. A fantastic race from Devon Jack. Stays out. I'm going to have to ask about fuel, because that is going to be I'm not entirely sure what the situation was there. Before we have a word with our top 3, let's have a look at our final race results here from round 4 of the Road and Plate Summer Series. It is Devon Jack who takes the restart and wins by 0.4 of a second over James Moore, who, using that inside line, forces Aaron Smith out to the outside, takes it in the final corner. It is less than a tenth between Moore and Smith in the end for the podium. Campbell and McCoy finished 4th and 5th. Campbell pit on lap 50 and still came through with the top 5. Matt Schlosser pit even later ends up in 6th place, with Dustin Borley having a terrible day for most of the night. Ends up bringing home a 7th place after all said and done. And Labano, Hubchak and Wiseman round out your top 10. Brandon Carl and Tom Wendt will come home 11th and 12th, with Weaver and Stoner your final drivers on the lead lap. Bray made up 4 of those lucky god laps, will end up still finishing down in 15th, with Jake McKee, a late retirement. Jay Best also coming through just behind. And then Sean Campbell just running the sprint race, not able to get back out for the feature. Your one DNS of the night. And with that, let's have a word with our race winner, Devon Jack. Talk us through that race, and especially that final restart, because I wasn't sure what was going on in the booth. I'm sure down on the track there was just as much chaos.
Well, we knew it was coming down to the final lap. We were watching the time tick down and realized 10 seconds is just going to throw the white. I was just hoping that Aaron wasn't going to time this restart right like he did the last 2 of them, because if he would have stayed on my outside, he probably would have had it.
Yeah, I mean, a great run there, up at the front of the field all race long. But of course, inheriting the race lead through a pit stop, first from Aaron Smith and then from Matt Schlosser. Were there fuel concerns at any point during that race, or were they just going for some tyres and going for a fun run back through the field?
I was thinking fuel was going to play a part, because it didn't really at Concord with the yellows, and then once the yellows started, we just kept getting more of them. So it was easy enough this time to save fuel to the end. I was assuming Schlosser was doing the same thing. We were all confused when he came in. It's like he's throwing it away. He could have made it, unless he was going way too hard on the throttle.
I mean, I had a feeling it could have been that the cautions played a factor. In the end, you were one of, I believe, 6 drivers who ended up running that race without a pit stop. Of course, James Moore behind, McCoy in 5th place, but most importantly, you had the track position. You got it done. I mean, just talk us through the pressure that Moore was putting on you on those restarts, because you mentioned it earlier. Having that car either behind you or to your outside, knowing how many wins he has in this series, must be very tricky indeed.
Oh yeah, when Aaron's on track, you know he's an immediate threat to win. So anything you can do to get a slight advantage on him, you're gonna have to. And once he timed the second to last restart almost perfectly, I was hoping it was gonna throw him off, because usually once he gets dialed in, that's it. You're just watching the yellow banana drive away.
Well, a fantastic job weathering the storm, taking home the race win here. Your 2nd win of the season in the Summer Series. Say what you want to say to the fans at home. Now is the time. Congratulations.
Yeah, it seems to be the only time I can win is when road and plate goes to a track that's neither a road course or a plate track. So I'll take it where I can get it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I wish you the best of luck in the final 2 rounds of the season. That was race winner Devon Jack. Next up, we have the number 12 machine. James Moore coming home in 2nd position with a last lap move on Aaron Smith there. You were in great battles all throughout that one. Talk us through how that was and how important that low line was for you in getting those moves done.
Man, you just can't pass anywhere but the bottom here. Made for some really fun racing throughout the night. Apologies to Chuck Labano. Did not mean to spin you there on lap 1. That was my bad. Yeah, just tried to stay with it all night and do my best to stay out of the way. I think I came over with the 0x, no incidents tonight, so I'll take that. yeah, that last restart was just, man. When I saw that we were going to be coming back to take the white, I really was like, screw it, I got to win. I'm going to just drive right through both of these guys on the last lap, first corner. But I just totally messed the restart up, didn't get a chance at it, which, it's probably for the best. But Aaron raced me clean off of 4, and that was awesome. Any road and plate race where you beat Aaron Smith is a success. So I will absolutely take second tonight.
Yeah, I know that iRacing has those awards, and one of them is to be a staff member. I felt like beating Aaron Smith maybe deserves to have one of those awards.
It really does. He's so damn good. He's good everywhere. He's good at everything. Everything he touches turns to gold. I think we need to start just putting him at the back of every race, no matter what. I think that's the only way it'd be fair around here.
Well, he did that to himself on lap 30.
He did. I don't know what that was about. I honestly, I lost track of everything. I was so locked in on just trying to make sure my left tire was right on that line. So I didn't even notice who was behind me half the time. I didn't even notice where anybody was.
Well, a fantastic second place finish. Again, important for the run in the championship. You were in that sort of lead quartet.
Yeah.
Coming into tonight.
Yeah.
It looks
I'm
like
10 points back now.
Wow, that's going to be a great fight.
P4, 10 points back. This entire top 4 right now with me, McCoy, Schlosser, and Dustin is really heating up, and it's going to come down to the wire. I'm really excited for Laguna Seca next week. One of my favorite tracks and a incredible car. It's going to be must-watch racing, let me tell you.
Yeah, well, I wish you the best of luck for the rest of the season. If there's anything you want to say to the fans at home after tonight's action, now is the time.
Yeah, of course. Shout out Velocity Pixels, my painter, and my team, Sequential SimSport. I got a bunch of friends and family watching at home. Shout out my parents. Shout out Sarah. Shout out Megan. Shout out Brendan. I appreciate you guys for letting me know you're tuning in. That's awesome. Glad to see you guys. Good luck, everybody, next week. It'll be a fun one.
All right. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.
That was James Moore, second place finisher and championship contender here in the Road and Plate Summer Series. And finally, we have a familiar face back in the booth, Aaron. Welcome back. And, I want to talk to you about the strategy, because of the top 3 that I've spoken to, you were the only one to make a pit stop. Were you thinking fuel was going to be a big concern here if we stayed green?
My iRacing calculator was showing me that I was 2 laps short, or not 2 laps, 2 gallons short, but I knew that wasn't going to be the case with the cautions we were probably going to get. But after wearing my right rear off to about 78% in the heat race, I wanted to go in and get some fresh tires, but it turns out that my right sides were only 98, 96. So after like 5 hard laps, it was evened out anyway. But I figured I would kind of make use of them, drive up through the field, and get back to where I was, and that's about where I stuck. I didn't want to give anybody the bumper I didn't have to and potentially ruin their championship when I'm only here for a few races, so did my thing, and was a few steps too late there at the end.
Yeah, that battle with Devon on those final few restarts was a great show for everyone. Do you think there's anything you could have done on the outside, or would you have had to swap around and give a nudge to try and get through there?
I knew I had what it took to give the crossover to him there out of turn 2, but I got him a little high-sided there. I lifted his back tires up and kind of lifted. I didn't want to, like I said, I didn't want to put him in a position like that where I'd potentially wreck the leader for a win, but there were a few restarts where I just wasn't giving, or I was giving too much space in the second lane there, because I thought I was right on his door, but I looked at the replay, and there was the whole car width in between the two of us, and that's where I slid up the track and had to square off my exit. And that was ultimately what cost me a shot at the win there, as well as second place. So got a little bit to work on here. Not much a fan of this track, but this race certainly helped with my opinion on it. It was a blast. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next this season.
Yeah, I got Laguna Seca next week. How are you feeling about that?
If I can run that, it's going to be pretty fun. The F4s are certainly something a little out of my comfort zone, so to be able to run those and get some extra laps, and with people who are right around my level, if not a little better, it's good fun. So I'm looking forward to it if I can show up.
All right. Well, one last time, is there anything you want to say to the fans at home? Now is the time. Congratulations on the double podium.
Yeah, I'd like to thank all the folks at Road and Plate once again for letting me hop in and run these races. I'd like to thank you for broadcasting and all the folks for watching. Looking forward to getting back at it whenever I show up next.
All right. Well, we will see you then. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And with that, we are done for round 4 of the Road and Plate Summer Series. Just 2 rounds to go. Next week in the Formula 4s at Laguna Seca, and then 2 weeks from tonight at Southern National Motorsports Park in the Street Stocks to round out the season and crown a champion. As we mentioned in those interviews, Matt Schlosser now holds the championship lead. 2 wins, 6 top 5s, 7 top 10s on 213 points. Dustin Borley sits just 4 points back. Michael McCoy -7 and James Moore -10. All 4 of those drivers are right on top of each other. Any incident could completely change the tide of the championship. You are not going to want to miss the final 2 rounds of the season. So, from everyone here at JCTV, from everyone at the Road and Plate series, I have been Olivia Hayward, saying thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we'll see you next time.